Does anyone remember when the Vizards were relevant? Hey guys, thank you for checking out the video. Welcome back to the Everything Anime Podcast. Here we talk about everything from anime, video games, manga, and whatever relevant topic we feel like talking about. Got a few videos planned coming up. Prototype is definitely next. I'm working on it. I want to finish the game before I, put it out there, like all my thoughts. Because I played it originally back in 2009, so it's been a long time. It's been like 14 years since I played that game. So it's old, but it's good, and I want to talk about it. But before that, there's just other stuff going on. Like, we got Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War back on weekly. We got Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. We got Luffy's Gear 5th dropping tomorrow. So, there's going to be things thrown in there, but just know Prototype is coming if you are waiting for that video. Sorry about that. What I want to talk about specifically today is the Vizards. What is going on with the Vizards? Now, I don't know if you guys remember when the Vizards were introduced. Like, the first one we met was Shinji, and he had this cool ass opening. He was hanging upside down, he was upside down while Ichigo and his other friends were walking around. Shinji was like upside down. We were like, oh shit, who the fuck is this? Is this a bad guy? Is this a good guy? We didn't know. And then the first time you see him, HOLLOWFIED, because if you don't know what a Vizard is, Vizards are, there's three kinds. Well, more than three, but we're going to talk about, just the basic three. There's three kinds of, types of fighters, or four. Let me break it up to it. There are four types of beings in Bleach, in the Bleach universe. First, there's Soul Reapers. They use Zanpakuto, which are the Zords. The Zords have powers. You call the Zord's name, and the Zords have different abilities. There are let's put it this way. There are hollows, which are not demons, but ghosts that have turned into monsters because they feel there's some kind of they're not at peace. Then you have Quincy's, which use bow and arrows, and they're kind of like Shinigami, except they kind of hate each other, like Shinigami and Soul Reapers hate each other. Then there are, what we get to is Vizards. Vizards are Soul Reapers that have hollow mask. Now, the way you kill a hollow is cutting its mask in half, right? And so these Soul Reapers were turned into Vizards because of Aizen / Ulquorria, messing with the Hogyoku, which kind of breaks down a barrier that separates Shinigamis and hollows. I'm going to get into the other thing later, but anyways, it breaks down that barrier. So Soul Reapers can obtain hollow powers. And then vice versa, hollows can obtain Soul Reaper powers, which is what you have the other thing called Arankars, and which are hollows that take on human form and have Zanpakutos. So that's basically what you need to know. Basically. So when we got to the Vizards, and before we even met the Vizards, the first time, we didn't even know the name of it. The first time Ichigo fucking gets the hollow mask, he's being trained by Ulquorria, and the mask starts taking over, and Ulquorria's you have to control this new power I gave you. If you can't, I'm gonna have to kill you. And Ichigo does, of course. Ichigo does. And we're just whoa, Ichigo has a hollow mask. We didn't know what that meant, but we were just oh shit, Ichigo has a hollow mask. And then, Season 1, first arc, Soul Society, retrieval of our Saving Rukia arc, you get to the fight between Ichigo and Byakuya. And while they're fighting, Ichigo has this Bankai, which is totally dope. I'm going to get to a point here, but just kind of build up where I'm getting to. So, he's fighting Byakuya, and Ichigo's kind of losing at first, and then all of a sudden the hollow mask takes over. And Byakuya is what the fuck is that? And it starts fighting for Ichigo. And Ichigo's he rips the mask off. He's I'm in control right now. So Ichigo's aware of this other being inside of him, but he's and I think they even said this funny line where Byakuya was what was that? And Ichigo's don't worry about it. And they just kind of dropped it. It's kind of dropped to the background, yeah, that was a weird thing that happened in the middle of our fight. And so that was our first introduction, Ichigo HOLLOWFIEDing in a fight. We were oh shit, Ichigo has a hollow mask. And we knew what that was, but we didn't know what it meant. So the next arc is the Vizards arc. And the Vizards coming cool. Like I said, Shinji is hanging upside down, dude. He's hanging upside down in the sky. He looks badass. He looks cool. And they're like this secret organization that are like, hey, well, not secret organization. They are exiled Soul Reapers that return to the Hollows because, and again, I'd have to break down basically what happened. But basically, like 100-something years ago, Urahara made the Hogigoku to break down the barrier between Hollows and Soul Reapers, but it was stolen by Aizen, and he was experimenting around the Soul Society, and he accidentally created the Vizards. It was like Shinji, Rose, Kensei, Hiyori, Lisa, Hachi, Mashiro, and Love. They were all there, present, captains and lieutenants. And, you know, that's the other thing I'm going to get to, too. These guys were captains and lieutenants, the highest ranks in Bleach, in the 13 court guards. So why are they always getting shit on? You guys are captain level. Okay, so then, yes, after, you know, we first meet them, Ichigo's going through this training arc thing, like, where they got him running on a treadmill, and he's like, this is ridiculous. He's like, I thought you guys were going to train me how to control the Hollow, because at the time, I'm forgetting that the Hollow inside of Ichigo was trying to take over his body, and they're like, yeah, we got you, and they start training Ichigo, right, and this is where we get this was the most badass scene I had ever seen in a manga so far. Ichigo and Hiyori are training, and she's like got the upper hand on Ichigo for a while, and then all of a sudden Ichigo's hollow mass takes over, and it like tries to grab it, like scares Hiyori. All of a sudden the Vizards are on top of him, their Zords pinning him down, like they're gonna kill him. Bro, that scene was so epic. It made us think like, okay, these guys are badass. These guys were captains, these guys are lieutenants, and they are badass. Especially the flashback, the turn back the pendulum arc. Amazing. For one, Shinji. Okay, so y'all, again, if you're watching this video, you should have a basic knowledge of who the Vizards are, because I'm kind of jumping around. But basically, while Aizen was doing those experiments, he was hiding, right? And I think Shinji was talking to somebody. But anyways, like, he's walking past something, and he like cuts the air with his hand. And Aizen shows up, and Aizen's like, how'd you know I was here? And Shinji says this cool, badass line. I knew you were there since the day you came out your mother's womb. It was something like that. It was like, that's a badass line. And Kubo's great for badass. Kubo's badass for drip. He's good for badass lines, badass poems, badass character designs and powers. But that's kind of where the Vizards stop being relevant. Because the moment they walk out to the war, the moment they're like, got that cool scene where they're like, okay, turn back the pendulum arc ends. They're Shinji sitting, and they're like in their like hideout that kind of reminds you of the Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter. They're sitting there, and Shinji's like, I think it's time we paid Urahara and Aizen a thanks. Because, like I said, they were exiled because they became Vizards. They became part Hollow. Because you can't have Hollow powers in Soul Society. So, yeah, they do this badass march to the war. And when they show up, everybody's, like, shocked. The old man, Yamato, the first captain, I forget his name, but the one that's the current captain of 1,000 Year Blood War, like, a lot of them recognize them because they were president captains back when those guys were, like, you know, still in Soul Society. So they all go and, like, I think Shinji goes and talks to Yamato, and he, like, talks a little bit of shit. He's like, oh, what's up, old man? Lisa goes and talks to the first captain, who has a lieutenant that looks kind of like her mom or sister. And she kind of, like, comments on that, and it's kind of, like, played off for humor. The 69 guy recognizes Kensei because that guy saved his life. And I don't think the rest of them had, like, other interactions, because Hachi, who isn't even like a Soul Reaper, he's like one of those what do they call it, Keto spell masters. His guy that trained him is under Urahara at Urahara's shop. Oh yeah, Hiyori was under Urahara as his lieutenant, but Urahara didn't show up to the war to the very last end of it, to the end of it, so he didn't see the Vizards. But yeah, so we're like, okay, these guys are gonna do something. They did nothing the entire war arc. Editing Terrence here. Yeah, they did do something. They were fighting like cannon fodder hollows. That's what they did. Don't remember Love, Hachi. Well, Hachi and Soy Fan took out the skeleton skull dude, which was kind of a cool fight. Yeah, that was cool. They took out somebody. I don't think Love did anything. I know Mashiko, the grasshopper girl, she like kicked some hollow thing, but then like she kind of got taken out. Rose didn't do anything then. I think Lisa attacked somebody too, but I don't remember her like doing anything memorable. Kenshi was there, but I don't think he did anything memorable. As far as I can remember, this is off my recollection. And Hiyori got taken out. I think she tried to attack Aizen first, and Hiyori got taken out. Anyways, so I was like, okay, you guys showed up to the war. You had this badass moment, and you all do nothing. Until Shinji shows up to fight Aizen. Now, this part was cool. Shinji uses his Shikai, which basically, like, all your senses are opposite. So, like, if you think I'm attacking you from the front, I'm attacking you from behind. But not only am I attacking you from behind, if you think I'm attacking you from behind from the right, I'm attacking you from behind from the left. And you think, it's like every thing that you can think of, it's like going to be opposite. So, it's not like a fist coming straight at you. Like, the fist coming behind you, but if you think it's coming from the right, it's coming from the left. And not only that, if it's coming, like, at an angle, it's coming at the other angle. So, it was so complicated for Aizen to fight him. Because Shinji's Shikai was like, it warps everything, every direction, every sense. So even when you think you're getting attacked from the front, you're getting attacked from behind, sideways, diagonal. It was crazy. And then, of course, because Aizen's like a master villain, he's super smart. He through bullshit anime, he figures out every single direction, every possible way that Shinji can attack him if he thinks he's attacking from that direction and stop Shinji in that moment. And then, of course, it just comes out to, oh, we need you, Ichigo. Ichigo shows up. Badass. Shows up. Which is cool because Ichigo's our main character. Aizen's our main villain at the time. But the Vizards, this was your whole arc. You guys weren't in Wako Mundo the entire time. If they would have took out some Espada, that would have been cool. If they would have helped take out, I don't know, number 0, or somebody helped take down Ulquorria. Well, it would have took away from Ichigo fighting Ulquorria, and it would took away from Ichigo fighting the other cool guy I love, Grimmjow. It would have took away from that. But it's like, you guys are introduced, you trained Ichigo, and then we get this cool turn back the pendulum arc, and then, then you guys walk towards the war looking all cool. You show up, you talk shit to the other captains, like, hey, we know y'all exiled us, hey, we back, we still here. But then, you still do nothing. And so, Bleach ended, well, not ended, the arc ended, and then we got to the 1,000-Year Blood War. And we saw, like, once we got back to Soul Society, the Vizards were mixed in with the 13 Court Guards. I think Rose was the captain again. Kenzie's the captain again. Let's see. Rose, Shinji, and Kenshi are definitely captains. I think the rest of them were either lieutenants or I just didn't remember seeing them again. I don't think, like I said, Hachi isn't a Soul Reaper, but I don't even think Hachi was in the 1,000-Year Blood War manga. Anyway, so they're mixed in, so you're just assuming the Vizards are back. The Vizards are back at their captain level. Shit's about to get real. And the reason why I say that is because Quincy's weakness are hollow powers. Because in the very beginning of 1,000-Year Blood War, the Quincy's are out to steal Bankai. Because that's the captain's most powerful techniques. So they're stealing all these captains' Bankai. And I think it was Urahara, or it was the clown-looking dude. I forget his name. But he's always created. That's T. Kubo's favorite character, so forgive me for butchering his name right now. But I know it's T. Kubo's favorite character. But he came up with the solution like, hey, if we hollowfy your bankais, it'll like disrupt the the stolen bankais that the Quincy's have, because hollow power. The reason why Quincy's have to destroy hollows is because like they're the bane of their existence. Like they destroy a hollow kind of fucks with the Quincy's like powers and abilities. Whereas the Soul Reapers purify them, cutting them down with their swords. So I was thinking, okay, this is the time for the Vizards, man. And in the manga, they still did nothing. We stick with the original court guard captains that take out all these. They're not called Sternritters. Sternritters, I think they're called. They take out all these Sternritters. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, that was the manga that ended like 2016 or something like that. The manga in the Thousand Year Blood War ended a long time ago. But we're getting Thousand Year Blood War anime. And I'm like, okay, Kubo said he's going to make some changes. He said he's going to like, surprise us with things he can do before. And I was like, okay, this could be where the Vizards become relevant again. Because it's even reinstated in the anime that the Quincy's weakness are hollow powers. And the way that the captains beat them at first, or some of them, is hollowfying their Bankai. You already have Vizards. This could have been where the Vizards just came in and just started whooping ass. Like, they don't have to beat everybody, but they could have beat, like, some major characters. And instead, Shinji uses Bankai for the first time, which is cool. But the reason why I didn't make a video about his Bankai is because it's way too simple. Like, his Shikai was very complicated. Like, warping the directions and senses, but his Bankai just turns enemies into friends and friends into enemies, which is fine. That's pretty powerful, but it's just, I don't know. Kubo, you're really creative. I felt like that was kind of basic, but it makes sense for Shinji because like his ability to warp things, it would make sense that his Bankai does it like that, and that's why he doesn't use his Bankai, or he says he didn't use his Bankai back in the Ironclaw War because it would have turned everybody friends into enemies, enemies into friends, and they would all just been fighting each other. So I give you a pass, Shinji, for not using Bankai then. But this fight between Superstar, Kensei, and Rose, I expected a little bit of change, man. I know that you did. The reason why you took out Kensei and Rose, after showing both of their Bankais, which, let me talk about that real fast. Kensei's Bankai, I knew he was like a knuckle fist puncher because his Shikai is kind of like that. But I like that, like, Kensei's Bankai is like, as long as his fist is touching you, your body's constantly exploding, like, over and over again, until you blast off. Kind of cool. I have had a character in Shogun Samurai. His power was called Dynamite Boxing, which basically the more he punched you, the more you exploded. So I'm cool with a power like that. That's kind of cool. Rose's Bankai, being a musician, we kind of saw that coming because like even his Shikai acts like musical notes. But I do think it was a little bit disappointing because it's too easy to break. Like, Kensei, just don't be near him. As long as his fist aren't making contact with you, like, your body won't take that explosion. So Kensei's weakness is probably long range, but Rose's is even more simple to beat. You know what you do? You destroy your eardrums. Plug your ears. That's all you gotta do. And you can beat Rose's Bankai. I was like, dude, you are Vizards. You are the weakness to Quincy's. You have hollow powers. Hollowfy if you fucking have to increase your powers. And, but we know the reason why he didn't change that, because that was how Renji gets his badass moment. And Rukia is going to have her badass moment next because they got their true Bankais. Renji and Rukia. If you don't know, spoiler warning, obviously. Well, the episode's already out. And plus, as you're watching this, you probably already know about the Thousand Year Blood War anyway. At least to this point. So, it's like, it makes sense, but it still kind of sucks. Because I'm like, I don't know where the rest of the Vizards are. I don't know where Hiyori is. I think Hiyori was in the Thousand Year Blood War in the early parts of the manga and anime, but I know she didn't do anything from here. I know the rest of them don't do anything from here. Like, I read the manga. I don't know what T Kubo's going to change. Obviously, he's changed, adding Shinji's Bankai into it. But what else are you going to change? Well, he's added, like, a training off-screen training thing with Orihime and Chad, that's obviously new. We didn't see them. The last time we saw Chad, he showed up and like was punching a bunch of giants, and he got off-screen. And Orihime is in the final battle with Ichigo, but she's just like his shield, and she's the shield to Ichigo's Zord. She'll protect Ichigo with her Soten Kenshin while Ichigo fights. That's Orihime's role, or was in the final manga. But I do hope, with the remaining chapters we have left, unless we're going to get a Hell Arc, which, I mean, even if we get a Hell Arc, the Vizards are still getting shit on. The Vizards, they're not even using their mask. Like, that's your guys' whole thing. You go back to hollification. Like, just bust out that mask, man. I'm telling you, you guys should be whooping Quincy's ass. It's very disappointing that the Vizards are still getting shit on. It's so disappointing, man. Anyways, this is my little rant. I just don't understand why the Vizards are they relevant still? Are you guys just like cannon fodder now? Are you just numbers to be? Because it's a shame, because you guys had the most badass entrance, and it's just, I don't understand why they're just cannon fodder now. But it's such a shame, because you guys had such a badass entrance. You had such badass designs. The fact that like we saw y'all all go hollow mask, it was cool, man. It was so fucking epic. But yeah, there's not much else to say. But I've been, like I said, this is just up to the current episode. I wish I had been reviewing this a long time ago, but yeah, I'm just disappointed with the Vizards are, and I hope Kubo, you're not probably gonna watch this, Kubo, but I hope that you watch this, make the Vizards do something. They should have some kind of advantage over the Sternritters and Hollows. I mean, Sternritters and Quincy's. Like, even if you got to make a bunch of cannon fodder Quincy's, just make all the Vizards just like go out first and just cut all them bitches down before they get to Yacht, and then Yacht can take them down or whatever. But I'm telling you, the Quincy's should be doing more damage. They are the opposite of Quincy's, and they have their weakness. It makes no sense.
This video was sponsored by the Shinry series. Check out our link in the link tree below to check out all our current published books. Starting with Shobi Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobi Samurai sets off on a quest for revenge, but instead faces a choice to save his home from powerful enemies, blood beasts, shadow creatures, and the organization once thought dead. Or check out our other series, The Chronicles of Wayne. Love Be Damned. Cotton Candy, Pheromones. Favorite lovers, a curse virgin on spite. If you go where monsters dance, red will reign over your house. Love Be Damned. The Chronicles of Wayne starts with Book 1, and it introduces werewolves, vampires, and all other sorts of supernatural creatures you've already heard of. If you guys are interested in the books, just follow the link tree in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting the Shinry series at everything. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.